you, everybody. Thanks so much. Very happy to be here tonight. Wow, did you guys hear that, or was that me, man? I'm hearing voices again. Anyway, I'm very happy to be here, and I did a show here last night, and some lady asked if my hair was natural. I'm like, where would you go to get your hair done like this, you know? She said PetSmart, and that stung a little bit, but she was right. It's a really good deal. So I've been going back every 4 to 6 weeks, and I'll tell you that flea bath is tough, man, but all right. Some of you are digging this, and some of you are looking at me like, didn't we see this guy under a bridge earlier today? And that was me, man. I write these jokes in the dirt and then come in and try them out. And I'm not looking forward to this rain. It's going to wipe out my act. Thanks a lot. I'm doing good on the right side of the room. Got some Republicans over there. But no, I am. I'm a registered Republican because I just like showing up to the meetings and freaking them out. You know, they're like, you're not supposed to be here. I'm like, yeah, I am. When I tie my hair back, I look like that guy on the nickel. So they're like, we got to let him in. He's on the nickel. All right, now, I'm so happy to be doing shows again. And you know, I fly to most places. I mean, I'm not a good driver. I think, you know, when you get a good look at me, I don't think that comes as a real shock. I don't think you guys are like, I bet this guy can really drive a car, man. I'm not good behind the wheel of an automobile. If you look at me, I got a weird eye going that way, which makes it interesting at four-way stops, you know? You're like, which way is this guy gonna go, do you think? That joke always does better over here. People over here are like, his eye is the only normal-looking thing on him, man. All right. But I am a bus rider, and weird things happen to me just in general, but, you know, the bus magnifies it. And this happened to me at a bus stop in Colorado. And I'm from Colorado, but I don't ski because I'm already sliding downhill in so many other areas of my life. Wow, thank you over there, man. I'm going to get the whole room to laugh, and my eye will straighten out just for a minute there. Wow. But this happened in Colorado. It was 8 o'clock at night. It was this time of year. It was dark out. And say like that stool is the bus stop, right? I walk up to the bus stop like you normally would, and I startled this woman who was there. And I get it. I mean, you know, I'm a weird-looking guy, however you want to say it. But we live in America here, right? We have freedom of choice. Like, all right, I'm doing well, one person at a time, man. Everybody's going to laugh. It's just individually, but I've been there before. I'm not even a comic. I came in to get out of the cold for a while. Said, let me tell my stories. Give me a bottle of water and let me go up there. No, but what I'm saying is we live in America, you know? We have freedom of choice. I choose to look like this, like, well, people don't usually laugh there, but all right, that's cool. Wherever you guys laugh, I'll slow down. I get the feeling there's something going on behind me that I'm unaware of. But no, you know, I do. I get up in the morning, check my reflection in the mirror. I'm like, that is the look I'm going for. Let's go to the bank. I've got stuff to do, you know? So I walk up to this bus stop. I startle this woman, and she says to me, are you all right? Do you have somewhere to go? And I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm at a bus stop. I'm going places. I don't think I can time it much better. Is this your first time at a bus stop? And this happened to me late at night. I'm riding a bus. I'm a nightclub entertainer. This guy stands up on a rolling bus and asks me for $1. And first of all, if you're asking me for money, I'm going to question your analytical skills. I mean, I do not look like a high roller. It's like, do your homework. But this guy asked me for $1, so I try to be polite. I'm like, I'm sorry, sir, I don't have $1. And he cops an attitude with me and starts talking all tough. He's like, hey, man, why don't we take our shoes off and do a little boxing? I know. I'm like, well, that is a weird request, but I'm on this bus for another 35 minutes, so let's box, bro. So as he was taking his shoes off, I beat the heck out of him. You know, I'm like, you're the one who wanted to fight me over $1, buddy. And, you know, because I don't drive, I walk a lot. That's my main form of exercise, and I try to get 10,000 steps a day. That's what the doctors tell you. Oh, thanks, yeah. Were you just clapping because you're like, I'll bet this guy didn't even make 7,000 a day. But no, I bought one of those pedometers that you clip on your belt, you know, and then I lost it. So I was bummed because I don't have a lot of extra pedometer cash laying around the house, you know. So then I was like, well, I'll just keep tracking my head of my steps. And honestly, that's what happened to my eye, man. I was like, I was doing some heavy math, and my eye's like, I'm not going to carry the 1 anymore. I'm out. Oh, thanks. Wow, the old wandering eye joke is paying off. Thanks, you guys. So then I sat down on the sidewalk, you know, tried to recount my steps. You guys are making up your own jokes, you know that? I'll set them up, you knock them down, we'll be home. Time to watch the weather. But no, I sat down, you know, and was retracing my steps. I went to the paint store for no apparent reason, you know, thinking about some other stuff. Someone walked by and they thought I was inebriated, you know, so they suggested 12 steps. And I'm like, I know I made it farther than that, man. That's like 40 feet tops if you're taking big steps. All right, you guys seem to be a little bit of a math crowd, and I've got a math joke, and it's a timely one if I do say so myself, because we're going back to standard time tomorrow. And I like daylight savings time better, you guys, I do. But you know how they say you gain an hour when we set the clocks back? That's not really true, but I came up with a plan where you really do gain an hour, and it's called daylight driving time, and here's how it works. You drive 95 miles an hour in a 65-mile-an-hour zone for 205 miles. You have picked up an hour, you know? That's the good news. The bad news is you're in Wyoming, but, you know, you're an hour ahead, so. But I do go for a lot of walks, and I've walked around this town today, you know, Provo, and it's very nice here. But this happens to me wherever I go, you guys, whether it's a city or town, you know, whatever. At least once during the weekend, a car will slow down and yell at me, you know. Not the cars themselves, but I mean, people in the cars, right? And what they yell 99 times out of 100 is get a job. That was funny over there. That's good. No, but, you know, I thought about it. It's like I have a job. I support comedy clubs, restaurants, airlines, wherever I go. So now when a car slows down and yells, get a job, I start running alongside the car. And I look over and I'm like, but I have a job. And it freaks out the driver, you know? He's like, it's not supposed to happen like this. I'm supposed to yell at the weirdo and he's supposed to go back in the alley. How is he running 40 miles an hour? I'll tell you, I can run 40 miles an hour because I'm a bodybuilder. And yeah, thanks. You should see me when I'm all oiled up. But I am. I'm a bodybuilder, and I am selling a workout tape after this. It's an audio, so I don't know if you have a cassette deck, but if you do, you can have a body like mine. And I'm not going to lie, it's a cassette series, so there's a lot of work on there. But there's some downtime on some of those cassettes, you know. It's just me going, hey, let's rest for a while. This is only tape 1. Yeah. Tape 2, we're looking for a lighter the whole tape, so that's cardio. Man, I really like where you guys laugh. Sometimes you're there, and other times you're like, no, it's cool. So, but I'm selling those afterwards, and I'm having a special. If you buy an audio tape, I will throw in a couple of Forever stamps with every purchase. All my money is tied up in Forever stamps. I made some horrible investments in 1989, and I have warehouses full of Forever stamps across the United States. So see me afterwards. Now, you guys seem to like the walking jokes, so I have some more walking jokes. This one takes place in San Antonio, Texas. San Antonio, Texas, very historical, you know, like the Alamo's right there. The club I'm working at's 1 block on this side of the Alamo. The hotel I'm staying at's 1 block on the other side of the Alamo. So I'm always walking back and forth in front of the Alamo, you know? Not like I'm on patrol. Like, this isn't gonna happen again on my watch, you know? So, there's a Ripley's, believe it or not, right across from the Alamo. And the first day I'm in town, I run into Ripley's and go, I don't believe it. And that made him mad. They threw me out of Ripley's, and now I'm on a watch list, believe it or not. And I cannot go to any Ripley's, believe it or not, in North America, you know? And honestly, it really hasn't come into play yet, but maybe one day. So anyway, thank you, another new person, welcome aboard. But no, I'm walking this way, and there's like a rancher-looking guy walking towards me, right? And I see him, and I'm just like, hey, there's a rancher-looking guy. I wasn't like all freaked out, like, oh no, there's a rancher-looking guy. I was just like, hey, there's a rancher-looking guy, yeah? So I'm walking this way, and as the rancher-looking guy and I cross, he says to me, hey, girl. So that voice in my head just says, hey, keep walking, you know? So I walk a few more steps, and then he says it again. Hey, girl. So now I'm kind of flattered, you know? So I turn around, and he's flexing, and he says to me, what do you have to say for yourself? And I'm like, what kind of women have you been dating? Apparently you're into Czechoslovakian pole vaulters. And then he started chasing me, and I outran him, and I said, hey, a woman beat you in a foot race. You guys are making me laugh, man. That's great. A woman beat you in a foot race. How does that make you feel? And he said, not very good. And then I ran into Ripley's and said, you're never going to believe this. All right. I'm going to have a little sip of water here. All right. Like I say, you guys seem to like the walking jokes, so here's another one. This one takes place in Virginia Beach, Virginia, right? And it's the same kind of deal. I'm there for like 3 or 4 days doing shows. I'm walking, it's broad daylight. I'm crossing this road called Independence Boulevard, which is a big road, you know, 2 lanes, a median, 2 more lanes. Not my first time crossing a big road. I mean, I'm from Colorado, but I don't go, hey, my chakras are aligned. I'm gonna step off the curb here and see what happens, you know? So, I'm walking, and I have the light and everything. I get across the 2 lanes, I get across the median, and then I'm in the 3rd lane, and these cars won't let me cross, you know? So now it's like a weird game of Frogger. But I feel good, because I can look both ways when I cross. I should do nothing but eye jokes. That should be the title of this special. Nothing but eye jokes. But I don't have that many eye jokes. So now it's getting serious, and it counts down to like 5, 4, 3, and it gets to 2, and I throw my arms up in disgust, you know? And then that car stops, and I get across the 4th lane, and then that car makes a right, and there's a Walmart trucker with a big trailer, and he makes the right, and then as he's making the right, I see the passenger side window going down, and I'm like, he's going to yell at me, and sure enough, he did, and he said, "It said don't walk, you idiot." So I started running alongside the truck. And I looked over and it said, "But it did say walk." And he started throwing Oreo cookies at me because he was mad. And then I started catching them and eating them, you know. And I said, "All you're doing is carbo loading me. I'll run you all the way to the coast." All right, that was fun. Now, I do, I want to talk about the environment a little bit. It's important to recycle, you guys. And I recycle, I do. I'm a busy guy, so I do it all at once. I melt down plastic, tin, and aluminum all into one super compound that I call plastinium. And so far all I've made is a knife out of it, but I'll tell you this, nobody's giving me any trouble on the bus anymore. You know, I'm like, how about some plastinium, pal? I found if you're ever getting in a knife fight, I always throw that hand up there like that, because when they're looking up there, just a little knife fighting tip from me to you on a Saturday night. And you know, there are things you can do to help the environment, like I mentioned, riding the bus, recycling. And I'm a vegetarian, and I'm not like, hey, look at me, you know, I'm a bus riding vegetarian. I don't care if you eat meat. You could tackle a cow right in front of me and start gnawing on it, and I'd be like, I think that's your right under the Constitution, go ahead, you know? And if the cow started winning, I would jump down there and start fighting the cow with you. You know, I'd be like, I'm not going to eat this thing, but you're losing to a cow right now. Start hitting this cow, you know. But my friends always try to trip me up, you know, to see if I'll eat meat. They come up with these wild, hypothetical situations. Like, what if you were trapped in the mountains in a blizzard and you fought your way into a cabin and all that was in the freezer was venison? Would you eat meat? And I'm like, yeah, I'd eat meat, because I'm a vegetarian, not an idiot, you know? I want to live to eat vegetables another day, man. I can't get by the whole one day without vegetables to keep the string alive. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we're trapped in a blizzard, right? I would eat you if it came down to it. I just happen to have a plastinium knife here. I was stabbed twice in the cabin, you know? That's knife fighting tip number 2. And I don't know how the sales are going to go for the, workout tape, but if we sell enough of them, I'll have a free knife fighting seminar. Outside. Oh, man. I love you guys, because you surprise me every step of the way. I love that. Now, I do want to talk about some pertinent issues, you know. I think that the whole problem is oil. And it's not that we need to conserve it. We need to use it all up, because they're not going to do anything until it's gone, you know. So, knowing that, I bought a 78 Buick Electra, and I put it up on blocks, and I'm just running it 24/7, man. And I'm doing it on stolen credit cards, so hey. And I want to talk about the national debt, too. You know, the national debt is a big thing. And every time I hear someone talking about the national debt, they say things like, I don't want to see our grandchildren paying off the national debt. And I'm like, I do. Yeah? That is the only plan that makes sense so far, man. Let's put these kids to work. Hey, Billy, here's a new game called Sewing Machine, son. Sit down here and see how many of these shoes you can make in 12 hours. All right? Fair enough. That's good. Well, you know, and like I say, I mean, I go for a lot of walks, and I don't know what it is about the way that I look, but people who don't even know I'm a stand-up comic feel comfortable enough to come up to me on the street and say things to me like, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. You know? I'm like, that is really rude. I don't go up to people I think are weird looking and go, Lutheran, Lutheran, Lutheran. I don't know if you've ever hung out with a pack of Lutherans, but, you know. All right, now I want to tell this story, and this, you know, I don't like to brag, but I live in a one-bedroom apartment. Things are going well. Again, thank you over here, man. But I come home one night after a show, and I go into my kitchen, which surprisingly enough has the same wall. It's a crazy coincidence, but I hear this dripping sound behind the wall. So I contact my landlord. You know, I text him, it's early enough, and he says, hey, check all the faucets and stuff. I check that stuff. There's no leaks. He goes, okay, what they're going to do is send up a couple of maintenance men tomorrow. And so they do. They send up these two maintenance guys, Mark and Troy, right? And they go over to the wall, and they listen, and they go, yeah, it sounds like there's a leak behind the wall. I'm like, man, I want to work with you guys, you know? Like, I find the problem, you come over and go, yep, that's what it is. Then I felt like I was in a bad improv exercise. I'm like, what's next, fellas? What do you think, you know? So they go, it's a three-story building. I'm on the second floor. They go, we're going to go up to the third floor. So I'm like, all right. They go up there. They're up there for like 5 minutes, and then they come back down, and the dripping sound stopped. And they said, what you were hearing was the bathtub faucet dripping into the basin on the third floor. And so I played along at first, you know. I'm like, okay. But then I started thinking about it, and it's like, is my hearing really that good? That I could hear that? And shouldn't I be hearing all kinds of other stuff? You know? And did they tell those people that I could hear their bathtub dripping? And they're like, that guy has a weird eye, but he hears like a bat, you know? So, like, I don't know, 10 days go by, and my landlord calls and goes, hey, the apartment below you, there's water dripping through. I go, that's weird. Do you think it had anything to do, you know, with that leaking sound I reported almost 2 weeks ago? So now, I don't know what happened to Mark in this joke, but Troy is up in my apartment, and the guy below is George, and he owns the other apartment, and they're doing all these tests, right? Talking on the phone. Troy has the bathroom, the tub on. Any leaks? Nope, no leaks, you know. Then he puts on the shower, and I go, hey, I'm no plumber, but I'd be willing to bet if the tub's not leaking, the shower is going to be good too. So I won $100 from Troy that day. So they do all these tests. They can't figure it out. And then George comes up, and it's George, Troy, and me in my bathroom. And, wow, you guys are making up your own jokes again. George looks over at me and says, John, do you take a lot of baths? I'm like, wow, that's a weird question. But his theory was I was taking baths and filling up the tub so much that it was overflowing, you know, into the apartment below. So the reason I bring this up, you guys, is when I walked out on stage, I'm sure you all made a judgment about me. I get it. I'm in public all the time. I ride the bus. I make judgments too. But I would be willing to bet that not one person here tonight, when I walked up on this stage, said to themselves, I'll bet that guy takes a lot of baths, you know? Like I come home after a hard day. Man, what a day. Bath bomb. Boom. I'm taking a bath. I'm filling it to the rim. It was me, George. How about that? You know? All right. I'm going to get going here in just a minute. I still have something I want to talk about. You guys have been so much fun. I'm going to put this in there. You know, a lot of comics sell merch after the show, and Dry Bar is nice enough to let me do a merch plug. So hang on just for 1 second. I've got my merch in here. I am selling a book tonight. I didn't write it, but I am selling it, so I just have the one, so see me in a hurry. And I'm also selling this thin spaghetti. I bought 10 of them and I don't really like it, so it's $1 OBO. All right? And if you're watching this online, message me, because I don't know if this stuff's going to sell tonight or not. All right, that's it for me, you guys. Thank you all so much. Enjoy your